Ever hear a solo so nasty you gotta sit down for a minute? I'm talking, how is this guy not world famous level nasty? Rock didn't just happen. Because of Hendrix and Clapton, a whole army of underrated monsters were out there setting guitars on fire while nobody was looking. Today, we're counting them down, from the low-key killers to the straight-up freaks who should have broken the planet in half. You ready for this ride? On number 10 is Danny Gatton, the world's greatest unknown guitarist. Ever heard of something called redneck jazz? If not, you're missing out, because Danny Gatton straight up invented it. This guy was a mad scientist when it came to blending sounds, country twang, bebop smoothness, blues grit, and rock aggression, all thrown into one wild, beautiful mess. And let's talk about his speed for a second. Danny could pick faster than most people could blink, but it wasn't just random speed or sloppy shredding. It was like every note had a purpose, every bend had a story. His album, The Humbler, is basically a masterclass in how to completely destroy a fretboard and still make it sound soulful. You'd think a guy this talented would be a household name, right? Nope. Danny never really chased fame or top 40 radio hits. He wasn't about that. He just wanted to play, and because of that, he mostly stayed hidden in the shadows, while lesser players took the spotlight. In 1994, when he passed away, it felt like the world lost a voice that we didn't even fully get to hear yet. On number 9 is Rick Emmett, the quiet overachiever. Rick Emmett might just be one of rock's biggest under-the-radar triple threats. Not only could the guy shred a guitar, but he could sing his heart out and write songs that actually meant something. When he was with Triumph, Rick helped build monster riffs that weren't just loud, they also had feeling behind them. And let's be real, that's rare. His solos weren't about showing off or cramming 100 notes into a second. They were clean, smooth, and packed full of emotion. Everything he played felt personal, like he was having a one-on-one conversation with you through his strings. Later, his solo album Handiwork proved that he wasn't locked into just one sound. Rick could swing between genres like it was no big deal, gliding from jazz to classical to rock without missing a beat. Even today, after some rough battles with his health, Rick's still out there, guitar in hand, refusing to quit. Not for the fame, not for the money, just because music is in his blood. On number 8 is Jon Akkerman. We can call him the Dutch Wizard. Jon Akkerman is the kind of guitarist who can make you shake your head and laugh at how ridiculously good he is. One second, he's laying down a smooth, jazzy lick, and the next, he's launching into a face-melting rock solo that feels like it might set the speakers on fire. Seriously, go listen to Hocus Pocus by Focus. It's absolute chaos, yodeling vocals, insane tempo changes, and right at the heart of it all, Akkerman's guitar, slicing through the madness like a man on a mission. What's even crazier is how casually he moves between classical finger-picked runs and full-on electric guitar assaults, like it's the easiest thing in the world. If Jan had been born in the US or the UK, there would probably be bronze statues of the guy outside stadiums. But because he's from the Netherlands, and because he didn't really play the rock star fame game, he stayed mostly a hero among hardcore guitar nerds, which is a shame because his talent deserves a whole lot more ears. On number 7 is Tommy Bolan, the chameleon. If you ever need proof that life can be brutally unfair, just look at Tommy Bolan. Imagine being handed the guitar duties after Ritchie Blackmore in Deep Purple and Joe Walsh in the James Gang. No pressure, right? But somehow, Tommy pulled it off like he was born to do it. And it wasn't just that he could play rock, he could play everything. His solo album Teaser is a wild ride through Latin grooves, reggae beats, hard rock riffs, and pure funk. It's like Tommy had a map of every music style in his head and decided, why not mix them all? Even Jeff Beck, yeah, that Jeff Beck, once said Tommy was the only guy who could have replaced him. That's the kind of respect Tommy got from real players. The tragedy, He died at just 25 years old, right when he was about to really blow up. One more album, one more tour, and he probably would have been a household name. Instead, he became one of rock's greatest what could have been stories. On number 6 is Martin Barre, the underrated glue of Jethro Tull. Martin Barre wasn't the kind of guitarist who needed flashing lights and guitar flips to prove he was good. He wasn't about stealing the spotlight or tossing out 10-minute solos just because he could. No, Martin was the glue, the guy who made Jethro Tull's insane mix of flute, rock, and folk actually work together. You want proof? Listen to his solo in Aqualung. It's not just a guitar break, it's a whole story, packed into a few minutes. Soulful, sharp, unforgettable, and yet most of the credit usually went to Ian Anderson, with his wild stage antics and that flute. Martin just kept his head down and kept making the music hit harder, richer, deeper. Without him, honestly, Jethro Tull wouldn't have had that magic spark. His guitar wasn't about fireworks, it was about heart, about holding everything together, when the songs could have easily spiraled into chaos. Number 5 is the backbone of Bowie's music, Mick Ronson. When people think about Bowie's Ziggy Stardust era, they usually picture glitter, crazy costumes, and space rock madness. But if you really listen, it's Mick Ronson's guitar that gives the whole thing its bite. Ronson wasn't just standing there to look cool. He built those songs from the inside out. Take Moonage Daydream. His solo doesn't just fill space, it tells a whole damn story. Building tension, twisting emotions, and then ripping your heart open, right when you least expect it. The crazy thing about Ronson? He could be delicate one second, then punch you in the gut with the next note. And he never played to show off. He played to make the song better. In a world full of guitarists, desperate for attention, Ronson's loyalty to the music made him a rare gem. Sure, Bowie was the star of the show, but without Ronson's firepower, that whole spaceship might have never taken off. On number 4, we got Alvin Lee, the blues rock speed demon. If you ever need proof that some guitarists were just built differently, go watch Alvin Lee play I'm Going Home at Woodstock '69. Seriously, the guy wasn't just playing fast, he was flying across the fretboard while still keeping the groove locked in tight. It's one thing to shred at high speed, but to do it without losing feel, that's a whole other level. And Alvin had it nailed. He brought this raw, rockabilly swagger to blues rock that made him stand out from everyone else at the time. And here's the crazy part. Mid-solo, he could mess with his tuning, slip into deep, bluesy scales, and still land back perfectly on beat, like he had a GPS tracker in his brain. Plus, just for fun, he sometimes played his Gibson with a freaking drumstick. A drumstick! The guy was a showman and a serious technician at the same time. It's wild how Alvin Lee isn't talked about more, because the man could outplay half the legends people worship today without even breaking a sweat. On number 3 is Steve Hackett, the silent innovator. You know how everyone credits Eddie Van Halen for tapping? Yeah, well, Steve Hackett was quietly doing it years before that, while everyone else was still strumming chords. When you dive into Genesis's early work, Hackett's fingerprints are all over it, shaping the entire prog rock guitar language without ever screaming for attention. His Firth of Fifth solo? Man, it's not just a solo, it's like a slow, soaring violin cry that feels like it's pulling your soul right out through your ears. Hackett blended classical techniques, dreamy volume swells, and perfectly placed runs that turned songs into full-blown stories. And he never needed to jump around the stage or light his guitar on fire to get noticed. His playing made you notice every little touch, every swell, every tap felt intentional, like it belonged exactly where it was. Without Hackett, progressive rock would have sounded a whole lot more boring, that's for sure. You would love this one, Gary Moore, typically known as the Soul Shredder. Gary Moore is one of those names that should be said in the same breath as Hendrix and B.B. King, but somehow he still feels like rock's best-kept secret outside of Europe. The guy could absolutely annihilate metal riffs when he wanted to, then turn around and break your heart with a slow, aching blues ballad a second later. Still Got the Blues isn't just a song, it's an emotional sucker punch, straight to the chest. Gary's playing wasn't about flashy tricks or showing off how fast his fingers could move. It was about phrasing, sustain, squeezing every last drop of feeling out of every single note. One moment, he'd be lighting the place on fire, and the next, he'd have you standing there, completely frozen, just listening. Gary didn't care about posing for album covers or chasing trends. He cared about what mattered, the music, the soul, the raw connection between his guitar and the listener. And we saved the best one for the last, Jeff Beck. Yeah, you know the name Jeff Beck, but honestly, not nearly enough people respect just how different he was from every other guitarist out there. Beck didn't even use a pick most of the time. He played with his fingers, talking to his guitar, making it scream, sigh, sob, and whisper things you didn't even know strings could say. Songs like "'Cause We've Ended as Lovers" aren't just guitar tracks, they're full conversations, packed with heartbreak, hope, and everything in between. While other guitarists were out there chasing radio hits and stadium tours, Beck was off in his own world, following pure, artistic instinct. He didn't care about fitting into any box or trend. Every album felt like a new experiment, a new way of expressing himself without words. That's what made him so legendary. Not the sales numbers, not the fame, but the fact that he spoke a language only a few people will ever truly understand. Which of these underrated guitar legends do you think deserve way more love? Let us know in the comments below. And if you had a blast going through this list, smash that like button and subscribe for more throwbacks into the real MVPs of rock. Keep the riffs alive.